días a todos. Mi nombre es Daniel Peña. Camila tiene un problema con su micrófono, por lo cual no pudo hacer la introducción, pero bueno, no hay problema. El asunto básicamente es que yo estoy a cargo de la gerencia comercial y de mercadeo de la división latinoamericana de SEVO Systems, y hemos dado inicio a una serie de webinars con el apoyo de Food Protection para darnos a conocer en la región, en particular a los clientes pues de Food Protection, un distribuidor con el cual estamos haciendo una alianza interesante para dar a conocer nuestros productos y por supuesto pues que sean una opción para ustedes los integradores en la región. Veo que hay 4 asistentes, Cuthbert Maroni, Ed Rodríguez, Luis Borrallo y Steve Evans. Les agradezco mucho su presencia. Cualquier cosa, por favor, me pueden hacer un comentario vía chat y con gusto les atiendo en cualquier inquietud o comentario que tengan. Muy bien, dando inicio entonces, tenemos que nosotros somos un fabricante de sistemas automáticos de extinción de incendio y como les decía, estoy a cargo de la división latinoamericana. El equipo de trabajo que me apoya en la región consta de 2 personas dedicadas a soporte técnico, Marcelo Garrocho, el líder de soporte, Mauricio Jara, para ventas en particular en el territorio mexicano nos apoya Carlos Tobilla, y en todo lo necesario para manejar operaciones lo maneja Isabel García. Estas personas tienen una oficina regional en la ciudad de Bogotá, y todo lo demás, lo que es mercadeo, soluciones técnicas, etcétera, pues lo maneja nuestra casa matriz, que queda en Lenexa, Kansas. Un poco la agenda de hoy sería revisar un poco la historia y el estado actual de la industria, entrar un poco en detalle del agente químico que usa nuestros sistemas, que es el Novec 1230, y por supuesto dar un vistazo rápido, pero con cierto detalle, de los sistemas que nosotros tenemos disponibles para ustedes, como son los sistemas de preingeniería. I'm sorry, I've just heard that the webinar is in English. I'm sorry. Good morning, everybody. Here Daniel Peña from SEVO Systems. I welcome Cutter, Ed, Luis, and Steve. And going ahead, I think you got the idea who we are. We are a manufacturer of automatic fire suppression systems. And basically, the agenda for today, I'm so sorry that I was aware that the presentation was in English, so I prepared the information in Spanish. But we can send you later this presentation translated to English. No worries. And the important stuff is not dependent on the language. So any question, please feel free to send me any comment or questions through the chat, okay? Basically, the agenda for today, the schedule is to check some of the history and how the industry is right now. What are the advantages or characteristics of the Novec 1230, that is the fire protection fluid we use in our systems, and going a little bit in detail on some of the systems we offer to you, like pre-engineering systems, systems by design or engineered, some solutions like directional valves, flow calculations, small or units for microsystems. We call it SEVO Flex, and so on. So basically, the objective of this presentation is to let you know what options you can find in our brand, in our equipment, to protect automatically some risk from fire. Obviously, to let you know what advantages or characteristics has our products and the agent we use, and basically have a clear picture what information we need from you to be able to prepare an offer or an estimation or a quotation. So basically, that's the objective of this presentation. And going forward with that, one of the key things that I like to mention is that in some presentations with end users, they ask me about what frequently we find the need of an automatic fire suppression system. And here is a small example of the last year. And a data center in Argentina got fire, and obviously it was affected by the fire. And the result was around 3,000 virtual servers down for 24 hours, and that means 170,000 web pages out of service. So it's not something that happens every single day, but happens, and its effects are huge. So that's why we insist in our technology, and it pays by itself, saving a lot of money in the operation, and not only on the cost of the equipment we protect, but also the operation of the company, its reputation, and its service to the customers. So going forward, one of the key things that we need to review is when and how to protect something from fire. So the need for protection is always present. One of the key things is the prevention. Many customers are focusing, buying the most advanced stuff for detecting or extinguishing the fire, but make huge mistakes like, for example, storing boxes in a data center. I have seen that in the Caribbean, and it's obviously it's not necessary to be an expert to think that storing combustible material in a place that it should be protected from fire is a bad idea. So the prevention is something that it has to be considered as a part of the process. The equipment we offer are the best in the market, but its effectiveness depends 100% in how this equipment is installed and is used, and how the culture of prevention is working around it. So very important to let the customer know that having some culture of prevention and some valorization of the risk is important for this equipment and this technology to work properly. So basically, we have to assess what is the risk for the human people, what is the impact of a fire in the continuity of the business, and what is the cost of replacing the equipment damaged by fire. And putting together these three key aspects that bring us the necessity of having a protection so simple as a manual fire extinguisher, or the need to go further and offer a special equipment that is able to work autonomously without the intervention of a human being, and do an automatic fire suppression. That is the type of equipment we manufacture and sell. So before going forward, very important to let the customer or the end user know that besides installing an equipment like this one, it's very important to keep the people trained, keep the equipment under maintenance, regular maintenance, and always review all the possibilities to prevent the fire and avoid this type of thing to happen. Okay, so that's an endless process, you know. Always you have people coming into the company, changing positions, and all of them need to be retrained and review what we are installing or what we are setting up to protect from fire at a specific place. What is SEVO systems? SEVO system is the acronym of a safe environmental choice. And one of the objectives of my company was to always offer not only very effective fire suppression systems, but also be aware to minimize the impact of these systems in the environment. So we are proud to be an environmental friendly company, and that's one of the main reasons why we only use one chemical in our system, which is the Novec 1230 from 3M. We will go forward in more details why we select this agent, why that agent is becoming the most advanced solution in the market, and basically from this stage is to mention that is the more friendly with the earth and with the atmosphere, and that's why we use this agent. Okay, SEVO systems has a lot of options to protect combustible liquids or gases, to protect maritime applications, power generation, telecommunications, obviously, and data centers. Those applications are the 90% of our sales in the region, telecommunication and data centers. And recently, power generation is becoming a more important area in which we are working now. But we have other options for other kind of applications, as I mentioned, liquid cooling. Okay, the next thing is the origins of Novec 1230. Before going that, I would like to mention that we have a lot of applications and references in the market. Like you can see in telecommunications, power generation, oil and gas, data centers, a lot of stuff. So we can prepare any reference that you need for your specific application or for your specific customer. Our presence is in 55 countries all around the world. Going in detail about what is the history of the fire protection, automatic fire protection with clean agents in the market, we have to go back to 1960s when the boom of telecommunications and data processing started to happen in US and in Europe. And on that time, the chemical used to prepare or to develop systems that will be able to extinguish a fire automatically use the helium-1301. It was a great agent, very effective, but with a problem that affects the ozone layer. So it was banned practically in 1997. Because of that, before of that prohibition in the Montreal Protocol of 1997, the industry turned around hydrofluorocarbons, which are a type of molecule very effective too to extinguish the fire. But obviously, those second generation agents didn't affect the ozone layer, but they create a lot of warming potential for the atmosphere. So in some countries like Austria, Denmark, Switzerland, Germany, etc., those type of agents are forbidden or limited in their use. Those are very used in our region, unfortunately. Some of them are FM200, which technically is an HFC 227EA, and the Icaro 25, which is an HFC 125. So those agents are still in the market, but those are part of a second generation that is now being displaced from the market. To give you some examples, I have, unfortunately, again in Spanish, a copy of the official law in Spain that limits the use of this type of second generation agents. As you can see in this table, the FM200 is the gas with the number 112, and the Icaro is the one marked with 1.6. You can see in the table that there is an effect in the warming potential in the atmosphere, and the government of Spain charged in the case of FM200 charged 70 euros per kilogram installed, and in the case of Icaro 25, 68 euros per kilogram installed. So it's not banned to use those gases, but if you use it, you have to pay a huge kind of fine to the government. After some years, or if the customer deinstall these systems, the government will return the money. But that makes financially impractical to develop this type of solutions in some countries, like I mentioned, Europe, and in this particular case, Spain. So that's why another company called 3M, everybody knows what is 3M in the market, started to develop at the end of the 1999, 1998, and 2000, a new clean agent that doesn't have this problem. To review how these agents work, basically, to have a fire, we have to have some authors set three elements, some of them told about 4 elements, but basically it's a combustible, a source of heat, an oxidizer, mainly oxygen, and a chain reaction between these 3 elements. When you have this situation, you have fire. So, for example, when you use CO2, carbon dioxide, or argonite, or that kind of thing, those are not clean agents. Those are inert gases, which means are molecules naturally found in the atmosphere, which the objective of putting this type of gases in our place is to reduce the oxygen. That is a part of the key elements needed for fire. And when you reuse the oxygen, you control the fire. Problem is that people need oxygen to breathe, and that's why it's very dangerous to use these type of solutions. So Novec 1230, for example, works cooling the system. So instead of reducing the oxygen, it cools the flame. And this cooling effect reduces one of the other elements needed for fire, and that's why Novec controls the fire. And more or less, this is the same principle of application of all clean agents like HFC, CFM200, ECRO 25, works pretty similar. Basically, this Novec has some characteristics that are important to have aware of. The agent is discharged like a gas. It doesn't have any residue. It's highly dense, which is very useful for having small cylinders with a lot of pounds of the agent. It's not soluble in water, so it doesn't go very well with the water. That's good, because water means oxidation of the metal. So if the agent doesn't bring water, that's good for any system. Has a high dielectric resistance. In practical terms, we can discharge a system over 15 kilovolts, and there is no problem with that. It's liquid at ambient temperature, but it's discharged as a gas when the system is working. And I don't know if we can try to see this video. I hope it works well for you, where you can see a sample of Novec that is not actually poured into the space where the flame is on, but the gas from the bottle is going into the place and is knocking off the fire. So you don't see in this video any water or drops of agent. Just the smell, the gas coming from the bottle is enough to stop the fire. Here's another video where you can see how a test of the fire is done to get the UL listing for the agent. At the end of the video, you will see the camera pointing out to the nozzle where it is discharged, and you don't see drops or rain or anything. It's just a gas going out of the nozzle, and the gas fill the room and knock out the fire. Give me some seconds to see if you can see the result. Any questions? Okay, going forward with this, one of the characteristics of the Novec is that it's very safe. Basically, is the safest agent in the market. For give you an example, if a room needs to be protected with 100 pounds of Novec, and I am so stupid to put 150, there is no risk to harm anybody. You know, all these agents has a limit in the quantity that has to be exposed the people at it. So, for example, in FM200, I had a safety margin between 3%, and in this case, this is an old diagram. It's not updated, it says 44, but actually it's 23% now. So if I need to put 100 pounds of FM200 in a room, and for any reason I put 130, I am out of the safety margin, and there is a risk that I affect the breathing and the behavior of a person inside the room. With the ACARO 25, there is no space for mistakes. If I need to put 100 pounds, if I put 101, I am sending somebody to the hospital. In the case of the Novec, the safety margin is huge. For example, it goes, depending on the risk of fire, between 71% and 138%. That means that in a room that needs only 100 pounds of Novec, I put 200, and even though after that huge mistake, there is no risk to have somebody affected by the agent. So it's the safest agent in the market, and this is another key that helps us to decide to only use this agent in our systems. There is another way to see this based in the NFPA standards. I don't think that is needed to go deeper in this meaning, but obviously with the copy of the presentation that you will receive later, you can receive the references and go and check this out very, very carefully. So basically, our agent is very safe, the safest in the market, and that's important also to promote our technology. Another effect, for example, in the environmental arena, you can see in this table that the effect in the ozone layer is 0 for the Novec, as also is 0 for the second generation of agents, HFCs. But when you see the global warming potential, the difference is huge. The first technology, the first generation was 7,000. The HFCs, those are the second generation, are around 3,000. And the Novec is 1. That means that it has the same effect as the CO2 that is already in the atmosphere. So we are not considering that our agent is just 20% less, has a 20% less effect in the warming potential effect in the atmosphere. We're talking about 3,000 times less effect in the atmosphere. That's a huge difference, and that's why we select this agent too. What is the key reason, or what is the method of which this agent is able to do not affect the atmosphere in such a way as others? And you can see in this table that the difference is how long it lasts in the atmosphere once it's discharged. When you discharge an FM200 system or something like that, the molecule is around 29 years in the atmosphere. So even though it has a small effect in such amount of time, that effect is considerable. In the HFC 125, the ACARO 25 is around 34 years. And with Novec, this molecule disappears, it disintegrates in the atmosphere in around 5 days. That's why its effect in the atmosphere is so low. There is a comparison here with the FM200. You can see all what I already mentioned, the safety margin, the global warming potential, the lasting in the atmosphere. So I don't think it's needed to go deeper, but you will have a copy of this in English later on through Camila. And another table with HFC 125, the ACARO 25. Same stuff already. To give you a real example, when you protect a room with, let's say, with HFCs, with 380 kilograms of HFC, this is a medium-sized system in a data center, for example, it has the same effect as using 211 medium cars in the US during a year. So the effect in the atmosphere after discharging an FM200 system of this size is like using 211 cars in a year. If we prepare the same protection for the same size of the same data center with Novec, the effect is like using 0.07 cars in a year. So the difference is that huge. So, as I already mentioned, this agent is the best option available in the market to extinguish the fire, to protect the people, and to protect the environment. That's why we decided to only use Novec 1230 in our automatic fire suppression systems. Another thing is some customers or end users said, okay, I have I received a visit of a manufacturer 10 or 15 years ago or 5 years ago. It says that FM200 is okay, it's not going to be banned for any reason or environmental reason. And now you are telling me that this is not good and I have to consider Novec. How you can guarantee that in the future nobody's going to come and say that Novec is bad for the atmosphere and I have to change or consider something else. So that's why 3M, not SEVO, no full protection, not you, is 3M directly to end user. It offers a blue sky warranty. It's an environmental warranty for 20 years. So end user can have rest assured that there is no risk of a local or international regulation limiting or banning the Novec 1230, because if that happens, 3M is going to pay for the money that the customer invests in the agent in the system. So all the systems we sell are covered by this 3M Blue Sky warranty that lasts for 20 years. It's an environmental warranty. It's not a working or manufacturing warranty. It's environmental. So if there is any local or international regulation that limits the Novec, 3M is going to return the money to end user. That's another key element to promote our sales, obviously. The agent has all the standards, international approvals, as well as our systems that has all the approvals, European, American, and maritime that you may need in your projects. What are the advantages of using SEVO? Because we select only one agent, we develop a lot of stuff around it. So we focus all our investment effort in bringing new things to the market, and that gives us some advantages against other competitors that also work with this agent and others. So basically, we are some steps forward from the competition in the technical arena. We are able to offer replacement for all systems with very limited or even with no modification in the actual piping install. Our time of delivery from factory is very, very good. It's several weeks faster than our competitors. We are proud to have local dealers and installers that are very important in their own territories, and we look forward to develop more our presence in the Caribbean and Central America through full protection. We have our own design capabilities. We don't hire other companies to develop our systems. We offer assistance services in case of a project needs the visit of a representative or an employee of the manufacturer to confirm that everything was installed and put in place properly. We can offer that service too. We can offer training not only in US and in our local office in Colombia, but also locally in your territory, in your country, if that is needed. And we offer something that none one of other manufacturers offer. Is a portable recharge station for our systems. We will go deeper here, showing you what are our lines of products. And basically, one of those is this modular solution. As you can see in the image, is an open rack with the cylinder, with the fire detection and control. And basically, it's almost like a plug-and-play solution. Obviously, this requires that the room has to be some simple, not complicated, and the size of the room has to be limited to some measures to be sure that this type of solution works. But the good thing is it's very easy to install, very easy to modify, or even to translate from one place to another, depending how the business or the necessities of the end user comes. This is a diagram of how a regular of our fire protection systems works. As you can see in blue is the detection line. Our systems are proved with all, practically all fire detection equipment available in the market. Obviously, that are designed to control a automatic fire suppression system. So we can work with notifier, with plotter, with all the Edwards line of detection, even with European Union's detection fire alarm control panels. We can work with those. So we don't manufacture the detection. We only working in the automatic fire suppression system, and the control panel and the detection can be offered by full protection. We already have set up a plan to be sure that everything they offer to control our systems is compatible. So you don't have to worry about that. So the blue lines are refer to the detection, and the red lines are referred to our system. As you can see, basically, you have some cylinders with the agent. Those are connected through some hoses to a pipe network, and the pipe has some nozzles through which the system is discharged. Okay. We have sizes from 40 pounds to 601 pounds in our regular system that works at 360 psi. It's a pressure that is inside the cylinders, and it's a regular pressure in the industry. But also we have a high pressure system to 500 psi. And in that case, we can go to 910 pounds of agent in each cylinder. The great idea of using 500 psi is that doesn't affect the kind of equipment you need to be installed. So same piping as a regular pipe, as a regular pressure, same fittings, everything is the same, but we can go longer in our network of piping. We can put the cylinder farther from the room to be protected, and this is something that in some projects are important solutions. For example, in a regular system using even Novec 360 psi, our competitors use 2 nozzles to protect 500 cubic meters. As SEVO going in this high pressure, we only need 1 nozzle. It doesn't look like a big deal, but 1 nozzle against 2 means less piping, less money, less installation, and this saves money to the end user and through the installer. So everybody accepts or welcomes this type of solution that saves a little bit of money. For example, usually we can go 80% longer piping runs with 500 psi. So we have last week a project in Costa Rica where the only place to put the cylinder was at 30 meters from the room. Other competitors can do so. We can do it with 500 psi. And the cylinder and nozzle and everything costs the same as a regular pressure, so it's no big deal. No, they don't have to pay more, and we can do with our system something that our competitors not. And another thing is because the system has a little bit more pressure, we can use, it flows better, so we can use a smaller piping, and that saves money too. So that's our advantages in our 500 psi system that we call Force 500. Obviously, we protect everything from control rooms, electric rooms, cellular sites, telecommunication in general, data centers, server rooms, etc. And in case of fires like Class B, that means flammable liquids or gases, we work in compressors rooms, generators, turbines, medical equipment, etc., oil and gas. When we find a system or a project which needs a lot of Novec, other competitors offer, 5, 6 cylinders, even of the bigger size. That would be great if we can use just a big 1 cylinder. 1 cylinder, don't even think about the size. is cheaper than 5. So we developed a huge system called Titan 1230. This is a unique solution in the market. There is no competitors of this size. And we can go to, all the way through 5,000 pounds of Novec. That means that in other in big projects, we compete with others that need to offer 5, 10 cylinders, and we can do the job with just 1. Obviously, that brings some logistics considerations. No, there is a huge space that needs to be available. There is the size of this cylinder needs some logistics to put it into place, to move it from the airport or from the port to the final place. But at the end of the day, it's cheaper for the end user, and we have quantified these savings in around 20% cheaper than a regular multi-cylinder arrangement from other manufacturers or even with ours. And the installation cost is around 18 to 28% less. You know, if you connect 5 cylinders, you need 5 hoses, 5 connections to the piping, and with this is just 1, we save a lot of money and time for the customer. And this is a picture of our portable refilling station. Only works with Novec and only works with our systems, but is an investment that is not huge like others, and the company can be, or your company can be able to offer the end user a local refilling of our systems. There is selector valves, another solution, in case you have 5, 4, 3 rooms that are pretty similar. You don't need to buy 5, 4, or 3 different systems. You can have 1 system and direct the discharge to the room that needs it. That's the selector valves philosophy, and we have solutions that use it. For small systems or small spaces, like cabinets or electrical cabinets or small electronic equipment that doesn't need to protect the whole room, we can protect very cheaply with these micro systems that we call Flex. It comes from 2.5 pounds to 12 pounds, and you have here a diagram that you can see is how it is used. You can put it outside or inside the risk. It has a thermal affected hose that is like a detector. So when overheat happens, obviously because of a fire, this red line is a hose that is pressurized with nitrogen. It opens in the part that overheats, letting the pressure to go down, and that's the signal that brings the cylinder to the discharge process. So this is very cheap because you don't need necessarily a fire detection equipment, electronic fire detection equipment, and you don't need even power. This unit can work without power. Obviously, you can complicate this as much as you want. You can monitor the system electronically, send telecommunications status to remote locations. But the philosophy of the unit is to protect the small systems very cheaply in a very effective manner, and no electronic equipment is needed to set up the solution. So this is our Flex systems, and we can go with more details if you need or you have a project with that. We are using this for electric cabinets, telecommunication cabinets, small data centers. There is a tendency now to use a data center in a rack or a data center in a room, very, very small solutions of data centers and telecommunication facilities. So you don't need a huge system. This small system can work in that solution. UPSs, pumping stations, some small generators, racks with batteries, etc. References for this kind of systems, we have a lot too. And the other, one of the last solutions we are marketing since last year is called SEVO Cube. Basically, the people of the data center technology ask for a plug-and-play solution that can be monitored remotely. As everybody knows, everybody wants now to monitor their home or their work or whatever using the cell phone. So something like that, was required by some of our customers in the data center community. So we developed this one. Basically, it's a small unit. It was designed to be used in a standard 19-inch rack. It occupies 2 units, the upper 2 units of the rack, and can protect a full rack, a 42 units rack. It includes all the detection, all the early signaling, for example, needed to notify the alarm or the status of a failing to the unit. And also, I have a diagram here. Inside, it has 3 pounds of Novec. You can see here in this diagram the two early smoke detection units. I am trying to highlight it. I don't know if you can see it. It has forced ventilation in one of the sides to force the air coming from the rack into the unit to be analyzed by these detectors. And in case of fire, the electronic sends a command, a remote command, so everybody is notified about this situation via IP, but also locally with open and closed contacts that can be connected to the building fire alarm or the DBMS of the building. And obviously, it has enough Novec to protect the space that I am mentioning, a regular full rack 42 units. So this is our SEVO Cube. It's a little bit new. We launched this system around 1 year ago. It has all the technology that we have to use in a regular fire alarm system, but it's a micro version that can be put into the rack. Okay. We also, in case of need, if you need exit signs or emergency signs, we can offer that through full protection. We offer a protection for projects. Basically, if you start to convince a customer to use this technology, we have to protect you against others coming and getting the order. So we offer a preferential price. We give you exclusivity in all the communication certifications directed to that end user that you are working with. And we offer exclusivity in the user of a special system like the Titan. This is the form that we use to ask for information to protect a project. You can have a copy of this after the presentation. What information we need to prepare an offer? Basically, the room dimensions, large, width, and height. If you have a false ceiling or false floor, what is the plan will be good, what type of risk, what is the temperature, what is the elevation over the sea, and if you need a principal and reserve solution. Basically, that was the idea that I want to share with you guys today. This is my contact information. I don't know if you have any questions. Question? I am waiting for any questions you may have, please. As I mentioned before, I will send this presentation in English through Camilla. And you will have my email, so any question or project that you want to go a little bit deeper with it, please feel free to contact me directly. I appreciate your time. Thank you, everybody.